the hunt for a gravel bike. Everything I know about mountain bikes doesn't translate to gravel bikes, and the bike industry makes it so damn hard. Today, I'm going to share what I've learned and sort of the 7 things that I boiled it down to what I'm looking for. So hopefully if you're on the hunt for a gravel bike too, it will help you. We're in beautiful Bobcaygeon, about 2 hours northeast of Toronto, and we're going on a gravel ride. Oh, beautiful! Oh, but I have to tell you about this body of water. This is the Trans-Severn Waterway, and it goes from Lake Ontario to Lake Huron. We're in the middle of Ontario, in the middle of Canada, and yet we regularly see boats from Florida go by this dock. From the Atlantic via the St. Lawrence Seaway, boats from the world over make their way along the 385 kilometers of waterway, navigating up to 60 lakes at 44 locks, one of which we'll end up at the end of this ride. Come on, let's go. I haven't started yet and I'm already thirsty. Let's go. So what I love about this ride, and it's such a beautiful day, this is the quintessential gravel ride. There's some pavement, there's some legit gravel, as you can see now. Little bit of trail. We're gonna go by some lakes and into the farm country where there's like such a good example of a rolling hills workout, and then back to the locks. I call it the Tour de Bobcaygeon on Strava. I'll link to it in case you want to ride it too. If you're in my neck of the woods, it's maybe the one spot I think, what would this be like on a gravel bike? Hey! Gravel riding has exploded in popularity. It's so versatile. I mean, I'm really kind of getting excited about the adventures that we're gonna go on. It's gonna be fun. Last summer we rode on our mountain bikes to Kinmount, the town north of here. But next summer on my gravel bike, I'm riding to Haliburton. Okay, I've said it, I'm doing it. It's never as easy as walking into the bike shop and going, I'd like a gravel bike, please. It's always so damn complicated, isn't it? So the first thing I did was reach out to the 50+ cyclist group on Facebook with this. Hi gang, I'm a 55-year-old mountain biker who's discovered she also enjoys road and gravel biking. On the hunt for my first gravel bike now, as a matter of fact. Feel free to weigh in on your fave bike. I cannot take getting past on the paved bike trails here in Toronto one more time. Oh my God. Hi. And hello to you, sir. So I was hoping, you know, to get a few suggestions for a bike. Check out the response I got. It was crazy. Between me and ChatGPT, we organized them into a list, and I'll share that with you in a bit, in order of popularity. There were so many bikes, it was almost overwhelming. I thought, I gotta figure out what's important to me and find a way to get all this down into some focus. Oh my God, this is so pretty through here. This is called Noge's Creek. Oh, I love this little bridge. Gravel bike tip number 1, get clear on what you want it for. Of course, there isn't just like gravel bike. There are racy gravel bikes. There are endurance gravel bikes. When you hear endurance, that's more comfortable, like you could go longer. Even gravel bikes that are trying to verge into sort of trail worthy. Some of those will have suspension on the front fork. I don't want that. For me, my gravel bike, just for my purposes, is the Goldilocks bike. That's what I'm calling it. I spend probably 60% of my fitness rides on pavement in the city. So I want it to go fast so that we can go far. That we could go from Toronto to Hamilton if we wanted to. Up here, I want to be able to go on legit gravel and rail trails because we've got a lot of that here. But where I draw the line is I don't want anything that has any kind of suspension. I've got a mountain bike. If I'm going to be on anything like a trail, I'm gonna be on my mountain bike. So that's my perfect bike, and I think you just need to get clear on that. Tip number 2 is test lots of bikes.
Lots of bikes. We tested 5 bikes.
I have to interrupt this gravel ride with an important update. I was just about to talk about the importance of going to different bike shops and trying different bikes, all important. But things are moving fast over here, and I think I just unlocked a new level of the game. Let's get back to the ride, and I'll share that pro tip with you momentarily. Back to gravel. This was pretty hard packed though. I can't wait to feel what this feels like with tires that aren't 2.4 inches wide. The only bummer is that you're always buying too expensive mountain bikes, too expensive gravel bikes. It's not built up around here at all. Think about how much speed we're gonna carry down and then back up these hills when we're on skinnier tires like 37 or 40 millimeter tires, and our bikes weigh 10 pounds less. 10 pounds. I used to skidoo over this lake as a kid.
Did you?
Yeah. Sometimes it was nice and frozen, sometimes it was a little mushy.
On these bikes, a lot of them have these little attachment points. Let's call them nipples.
No, we're not calling them nipples.
Okay, lugs. Little attachment points for bags and accessories. Panniers. Bottles. I don't know if I want to try bike packing and loading my bike up with 50 pounds full of gear and camping by the side of the road. You know, going on overnighters.
But we might.
But I want the option.
Right, and a lot of them, do you say most? A lot to most have the not nipples. So, but that's kind of a deal breaker, I think, for us, right?
Yeah,
Because we might try it. I love this road. It's so beautiful.
If I had skinnier tires, I know I'd be flying up that hill.
So this is probably the perfect setup then to talk about the kind of gearing you wanted. And I went into this thinking, oh great, gravel bikes have 1x setups, just like my mountain bike. So one sprocket up here and then a platter with all your cassette back here with all your different gears, right? So clean, so simple. You're never changing gears up here. There's not a shifter up here. Now I've kind of changed my mind on that, and I think I want a 2x setup, meaning that there's 2 chain rings up here and less gears back here. Imagine if your bike's all packed up with bags and you're doing the bike packing thing and you're going up a big steep hill. You got to have enough gears to get yourself up there. And so I'm on the side of thinking that it's going to take a 2x setup to achieve that. And the other benefit of that is I think that there's no more nuance between the gears. So instead of the gear going from here to here, it's going from here to here to here to here. Yeah. So there's more steps in between. So I think the 5th tip or category that you want to get clear on is what your bike must have in terms of build quality, right? And that might vary. If you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s and you're thinking about getting into cycling, it might be a little lower build quality till you know you're committed. For us, these bikes are gonna get a lot of use and we know that.
Yeah.
So there's certain things we're willing to pay for.
A carbon frame. It's better for vibration dampening. And if you think about it, if you're on a bike for hours at a time, you want all the vibration dampening you can get.
Yeah.
Especially since I'm not riding with padded shorts today.
Hydraulic brakes.
Yeah.
For sure. Not mechanical,
yeah.
Hydraulic. You know, we've had bikes with Shimano for our drivetrain and SRAM.
Yeah.
I don't really care. They're both quality. But if it's Shimano, for example, we want the GRX or higher
Yep.
drivetrain.
Do we need electronic shifting?
No.
Recharge the batteries before you
No.
go for a ride?
If that pushes the price point up even further, I could do without it. And I'm not even sure about things like you were talking about the battery.
If it's mechanical, you just go and ride. It's just one less thing you have to think about.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
So that brings me to the penultimate tip. Number 6, splurgy things that if they came in the package of a bike at the right price,
Yep.
fantastic. And that would be like carbon wheels.
Yeah.
Wheels and tires make a big difference.
Right.
I would love to get nice carbon wheels. On the other hand though, if it adds $1,000 to the price of the bike and we're buying 2, I could go without the carbon wheels.
How about a big electric motor?
No! And so the 7th tip is pretty obvious, right? It's price. And so all these are great guidelines, but it has to fit in your budget. I could tell you, our budget has increased twice since we started this thing. But sometimes it makes more sense to pay a little bit more now than to figure out next summer, I don't have the right bike. If you've got a hard budget, go down to aluminum. I'm sure you'll be so happy. Make sure you don't blow your brains out. Because test. I'll go back to tip number 1. Test the aluminum version versus the carbon.
See how it feels.
Do you care? And how much is that money better serving you in your bank account? And I'm back. So once you get clear on what you want your gravel bike for, and for me, it's pavement and gravel, not racing, not trails, then it's time to get to the bike shops and test as many bikes as possible. Here's where my pro tip comes in handy. But first, I need you to understand that those size charts that the bike brands publish are not to be trusted. More often than not, the size charts put me on a 54, a size 54 bike. But on, say, the Trek Checkpoint, which has a long reach, I got on that bike and I felt too stretched out, too Tour de France-y. And so I tried the 52, which felt better. So because I don't ride a road bike, I needed a second opinion. And finally, here's the pro tip. When we were at the Trek store, I asked if the bike fitter was around, and they said, no, he's only in on Saturdays. So I went back on Saturday, and that's when I met Ivan. I asked if he'd mind eyeballing me on both the 52 and the 54 Checkpoint and give me his expert opinion, and he said sure, and proceeded to take us to the bike fit room, put the bike on the rollers, and told me to pedal. Before I got on, he guessed, you're a 54. But after setting up the 52, he immediately said, oh no, you're definitely a 52. I know. Not only did it feel better, but I got an expert opinion to say, yes, that is your size. And that's my pro tip. Try to talk to a bike fitter at the bike shop. And if that person is not there, go back on the day that they are. And as promised, let me share the top recommended bikes from my 50 Plus cycling group. The hunt continues. We'll keep you updated until we have a bike reveal. This is Sturgeon Lake, and this is Pigeon Lake, where we were this morning. And as you come through the locks and go this way to Fenland, you're on your way to Lake Huron. And if you're coming down through the locks, you're on your way to Lake Ontario. 31 locks away.
Thanks for going on this ride with us today. If you'd like more ride-along videos, make sure you hit the like button or leave us a comment. And keep your eye on the channel as the hunt for the perfect gravel bike continues. And finally, if you'd like to go on another ride with us, here you go.